So, I'm going to be doing a review of Gunslinger Spawn Volumes 2 and 3, because it came to my knowledge that while Chris did send me Volume 2 of Gunslinger Spawn, I completely forgot to review it. So I decided, you know what, I don't really think there's a lot to talk about with Volume 2, along with Volume 3. I'm going to kind of mix them together. I'm going to quickly review Volume 2, and then move on from there. So, like I said, let's talk a little bit about Volume 2. Volume 2 essentially was about, more about the gunslinger we now know as Javier, although there's a little more contention to that in this volume. Javier, the gunslinger Spawn, in that one, it's more about him establishing himself in this timeline. For those who don't know, let me catch you up that basically in Spawn number 300, Al broke time and let all the spawns from every era come into the present time. Among them was the gunslinger Spawn Javier, along with medieval Spawn and others. In other words, Todd McFarlane wanted to make more Spawn variant toys. And in that one talks more about like how Gunslinger joined the Scorched, which was the Spawn Avengers team on it, with him on it. It also talked more about Taylor, his little human sidekick. And this basically moves the plot along. And when a plot is written by Todd McFarlane, it's moving at a motherfucking snail's pace. Look, guys, as I've said multiple times when I talk about other Spawn books, Spawn comics aren't good. Like, let's get that shit out of the way. Spawn comics aren't good, but by God, are they fun. Like, they are basically pictures over story. I've had to, like, acquiesce to the fact that, like, that's all they are, and that's all they'll ever be, is just fun pictures over story, and that's really what it comes down to, is pictures over pictures over story and action figures. And that's all. Like, that's really all it is and all it will ever be. And to its credit, you gotta give Todd McFarlane, you gotta give McFarlane some credit, because motherfucker knows how to be a businessman. Shrewd businessman that a lot of people fucking hate, but still a businessman. So, the third volume basically is Javier hunting down the other people on his list of people who killed him in the past. We also have more of Taylor being an annoying sidekick, but also in here we get, like, more about his past, in that Javier isn't his real name. We don't know the gunslinger as of this volume's release. We don't know Javier's, like, full name. So, there is that to take into account. He's just using that body, and the more he uses that human form, the more it rots. The other thing is, too, you have to understand, Gunslinger is the weakest Spawn. He still unlike Al, who has the clock, who doesn't have the clock anymore, he does have the power clock on him, and it's very reminiscent of classic Spawn, where it's at the end of every issue, you see where the clock, and oh no, the clock is going down. Every time, the clock is, like, slowly counting down to what? Who the fuck knows anymore? Because hell's in disarray, heaven's a mess. It doesn't really matter. The story also features new action figures, characters, like Focus, who is a speedster who comes out of nowhere and fights Gunslinger. Yeah, this is the thing. McFarlane just has characters show up, and I can't, and this new speedster character's name is Focus, and they basically are a new action figure. There's also the whole thing with, like, Javier still battling angels who are working for a guy named McCarver, who makes experiments. One of them was Focus. Yeah, it's funny that we have, in a Spawn comic, a character named Focus, when there's absolutely none of that shit going on in any of these books. Ugh. But there is a lot of fun to it. Brett Booth's artwork is amazing. I really enjoy Brett Booth's artwork in here. Just absolutely just great 2-page spreads half the damn time. It's a lot of fun. Like, it's fun, but it's stupid fun. That's what you really have to take into account. So, yeah, that was, that's kind of the thing. Yeah, Spawn books, you gotta, like I've said before in another video, you really gotta respect the idea that it's a comic about literally nothing but cool pictures and a cool action figure on those pictures, and somehow Todd McFarlane's made a $1 million empire out of it. I don't know how he does it. I really don't. Because he's just like, his writing is not changed at all. But, it's but again, I have to reiterate, Spawn comics are like junk food to me. It's fun. It's not good for me. It does nothing for me, but it's fun. And that's what Gunslinger Spawn is. It's just cool. Like, it's just cool. It's just a cool image fighting other cool images, and maybe they'll probably get McFarlane action figures later on. And that's really all you can really ask for when it's all said and done. Am I right? Like, that's all we can really do by the end of it, if I'm wrong. If I'm right. But yeah, so do I recommend more of Gunslinger Spawn? If you're reading Spawn, you're probably already reading, Gunslinger Spawn to begin with. But I do recommend it. It's only 3 volumes in by this point. I think and I really want to read the 4th volume because this comic ends on a cliffhanger that it's like the scene with the Grinch. Oh no, it's falling, and I care. What is the deal here? So, yeah. I mean, if you're reading Spawn already, like, this is not this is easy to get into. So you can collect the first 3 volumes, read from there. Yeah. But yeah. All in all, thanks again, Chris, for sending me this book and to the others of the Indie Hall. And yeah, if you guys have read have been reading Gunslinger Spawn, just comment below, let me know what you guys thought of it. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.